Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel My Time My Teacher. In this video we will talk about class 12 sociology, second book, first chapter, structural change. As the name suggests, structural change, we will talk about the changes which came into the structure of the country, right? Since India got freedom in 1947. Before 1947, India was ruled by Britishers for hundreds of years, and before Britishers, India was ruled by various foreign invaders. For example, some Mughals and other Muslim rulers. That was the main history of India. The rulers, first of all, we got Mughals. Then we got Britishers. The Mughals, they came here only with one motive. That is loot. The motive of Mughals to come to India, to invade India, to defeat the Indian kings, that was only just to loot the property of India, just to loot the resources of India. Because they heard that India is a golden bird, so it is better to steal everything from here. They just worried about one thing, and that is looting the people of India and the resources. By this way or by that way. You see, there are a lot of movies on the basis of Mughals and their kingship, how they were just ruling the India, that they were worried about the money, about the gold, about the jewelry, and moreover, they were always ready to molest the Indian women. You can see in the example of Padmavat, the movie, what it shows, that how a Mughal emperor, how a ruler that is just fighting, staying into the warfare, into the ground, just to fight with the king for only one lady. He spent many months in the open area with the whole army just to kill him, to defeat him, so that he can conquer the lady Padmavati. Right? That is just an example which is shown in the movies. It was happening everywhere in the Mughal ruling and the other kings. You will get only few names in Mughal era like Akbar the Great, Shah Jahan, those who were doing something for the welfare of the people of India. They did only a bit for the structural changes in India, just to change something like construction of forts and construction of wells, the bridges, and something so that the people can get helps out of it. They didn't want to spend any money in India because they came here to loot, not to spend something, not to invest something, not to give any kind of infrastructure for the people of India. That is the main motive behind it all. You will not find anything much about the Mughal era. After that, the Britishers came to India. When the Britishers came to India, they came with two motives. The one was the trade, another was rule. The first motive, obviously, it was trade, the business, to earn money, to earn profit from India, from Indian resources. That is true. But one thing is also true, that they came here to rule the country, to rule the people. Not to loot. For example, what the Britishers thought, that if you are going to loot 100 rupees or 1000 rupees from one person, you are looting 1000 rupees from one person at a time, forcefully, you are killing him or beating him or doing something to take 1000 rupees from him, that is only a one-time loot. But in place of that, if you are asking the person to do any crop or business, or this you are taking in the form of taxes, if you are taking rupees 100 per month, then what will happen? It will give you more money. You can get 1000 rupees in 10 months only. And after this, whatever months will be there, that will be extra than 1,000 rupees. Moreover, the person who is giving you tax of 100 rupees per month, that will be your slave, that will be under your ruling always. He will salute you, he will be suppressed, he will not be able to raise his voice forever. But if you are looting 1,000 rupees by beating him or doing something, then the person is looking for an opportunity to take the revenge. Because you did something wrong with the person. He is ready to take the revenge. Whenever he will get a chance, he will surely take it. So instead of having a danger for himself or yourself or having less money, the Britishers had a broad scheme, a broad plan so that they can earn more money, moreover they can suppress the people. When you want to rule somebody, you cannot rule forcefully. You can only rule when you are giving something to them, when you are making them to realize that you are also there in their help. You are also there in their need. Whenever they need something, whenever they need your help, you are there at their side. That is the Britishers did. They were earning the money, obviously. They were forcing everyone, obviously. But at the same time, they were getting ready to rule the country. How? By doing certain kind of changes, structural changes in the country. The Britishers, they made schools. The Britishers, they made hospitals. The Britishers, they made railways. The Britishers, they started postal services. Why did they do it all? It is true that they were doing it for themselves, but at the same time, it is also true that the Indian people were going to get benefit of it. Right? You see, when the schools were started by the Britishers, they started the language English. The reason? What was the reason? The reason was because the Britishers needed helpers, those who could speak English, so that they can work as a translator, as a mediator, as a helper for them to understand the feelings of the Indian people, which will help them to rule in a better way. They started English in the schools, and who was studying in English? The people of India. They were allowed to understand, to study, to learn the language of the English people. Another thing was that while they were opening the schools, they were not doing any kind of discrimination on the basis of caste. Indian society was already having the discrimination on the basis of caste. You are the lower caste, you are the higher caste, you are the Brahmin, you are Dalits, you are scheduled caste, and all that was happening. So when the Britishers came, they were not worrying about the Brahmins, Kshatriyas or the Shudras. They were giving more preference to the Shudras. Why? Because the Shudras, they were already suppressed people in the society. When they were giving respect to them, when they were giving equal rights to Brahmins and Kshatriyas, to the Shudras, they were feeling very happy and they were very ready to help the Britishers in any way. What the Britishers do? They took them also into the schools to get education. The people, those who were studying English, they were getting two benefits. The one benefit was that they were getting social respect in the society, because there were hardly very few people in the society who knew English. The second was the Britishers, because they were calling them to work, they were also sending them to other countries to do work over there. Because that was the time when the Britishers, they were ruling almost more than half of the world. So they were sending them to other countries to assist the Britishers. But out of these two advantages, there is one disadvantage also. Now the discrimination started on the basis of languages known. The people, those who knew English, they were discriminated, or we can say they were given high respect in the society, while the others, those who didn't know English, they may be very perfect in Hindi and in their regional languages, were not given any kind of respect by the Britishers or later on by the society. The language English created another difference, another discrimination in the society. Hospitals for the welfare of people, the Indian people only. Railway line, if we talk about, that is related to industrialization. We will talk about industrialization and all that. Postal services, again having a great relation with industrialization that we are coming now. Now we are talking about industrialization. And deindustrialization. Industrialization is the process of setting up industries. Why it was required for the British government? That is the biggest question. Because they came here for earning money, for trade and business, not to set up of industries. When the Britishers were taking the raw material from India to another countries, to the global market, they had to spend a lot of money on the transportation of the raw material from here to there. The one reason that was transportation. Another was labor. When they were taking the raw material to another countries, the transportation needed a lot of money because the raw material goes in the big size. Whenever the raw material was processed in the another countries, then the processing is required. Processing is requiring the labor. And labor, you are supposed to pay the labor according to the rules of that particular country only. So again, they have to pay a lot of amount on the labor during the processing of raw material. So just to save the money from transportation, the money of labor charges, they thought that it is better to start industries in India only. It will help them in two ways. First of all, in saving the charges of transportation, and secondly, they can get the labor at low charges. Because India is having the vast population and the labor they will get at very less charges. That was the thing. So that's why they started to set up industries in India. Now the question is where? Before that, before they thought about the industrialization, there were two cities in India. One was Surat, another was Masulipatanam. Surat, that is in Gujarat, Masulipatanam, that is in Andhra Pradesh. These both are the cities which are at the beach, at the sea beach. Because of that, they had dockyard and the transportation was done through these two cities. If you want to send something outside of India or something is coming from abroad, then the loading and unloading is done only at these two ports, Surat and Masulipatanam. Right? They were far developed cities at that time. If we talk about Surat and Masulipatanam, they were so busy with the dockyard, with the docking of ships, with the transportation of the things, that it was not possible or it was not easy to get cheap labor at these places or to get cheap spaces, the places where to set up the industries for these people. Another reason was these two places were already at the corner of corner of the country. So again the question was to take the raw material from the place where they are produced from there to these places. So what they decided? They decided to set up industries at three different places. 1, 2, 3. The one was Calcutta, another was Madras, another was Bombay. Calcutta, they made the center for jute, Madras for spices and coffee, and Bombay for cotton. The three new places they searched and they started the industries at Calcutta, Madras and Bombay. You know, Calcutta is basically was basically the place of three villages. And right now we call it Kolkata. Do you know the first village which was taken for industrialization? That was Kolikata. Kolikata. Kolikata was the village where they started the industries. It was a group of three villages. The three villages were nearby. Britishers, they started industries there in Kolkata. And now you see how much population is there. Madras, the spices and coffee that was produced at the nearby areas. So they thought to set up an industry at Madras so that they can get these raw material processed there. Bombay, because it was a center of cotton, so they started the industries at Bombay to process the cotton mills and to process the cotton and the other material, the clothes. These were the three places. When the Britishers, they decided not to set up industries in these two places, then this process is called deindustrialization. This is industrialization when the industries were started in these three cities, and the industries were not started in these two well-developed cities. That process is called deindustrialization. Because of industrialization, these all three cities developed so much. And these two cities, they lost their importance, they lost the public, they lost the value. Now see, Surat and Masulipatam are still not so developed in comparison to Calcutta, Madras and Bombay. This is how it happened to the people when the industrialization take place. Right? Now we will talk about our next topic, that is urbanization. What is urbanization? Urbanization is a process to become urban, to become a city. That is a process. When the industries were started, either in Kolkata, Chennai or Madras or Bombay or somewhere, what usually happens? When the industries take place, the people started to work in that industry. Right? They come as a laborer, as a manager or at some other post. When the people started to come there near the industries, then it is very difficult for them to do up and down from their village, which is far away from that place, because the lack of transportation, because of the weather. Sometimes it is very hot during the summer, sometimes it is very chill during the winter, and sometimes we have rainy season. So it is not possible for the workers to work in all the three seasons during the year, to come to the office, to the factory in the morning and going back in the evening. Many factories, many industries also have night shifts. Again, it is not possible for them to attend to do the job from their village. So what they do is, they started to live at the nearby places near the industries, where they started either to the nearby villages or they set up their new colonies. They started to make houses. They bought a piece of land and started to live there. Somebody on rent, somebody by purchasing the piece of land. It was happening. When the people, they are leaving the village and coming to the cities or to the industries, they are making a new society there. The new society, what it does, it is quite different from the villages. Right? Why it is different? Because in the villages, the societies, the colonies, the muhallas, they are set up according to the castes, according to the religions. But in the colonies, when the people they were living, it was not possible to live according to the caste, according to the religion. Because everyone is supposed to buy the 1 plot or 2 plot or half plot. Or sometimes on rent. So in that place, you do not have the choice to decide which religion I want to live with and which caste I want to live in the nearby areas. The setting up of colonies also set up the new kind of culture for the people. The people, those who are coming. Now, the main reason was, one was the transportation, another was communication, another was cost of living. When the people, the young people, those who were coming to work in the factories, they were coming to work, that is right, but at the same time, it was not possible for them to bring their whole family to the place where they are living. So what they did, they started to take their wives, take their children to the place. Because it was not possible to bring grandparents, parents also there. The houses were very small, the living that was very costly. Moreover, it was already the facility of communication. So the people, those who could communicate from the cities to their parents, those who were living in the villages. Either with the help of postal services or later on with the help of electronic communication. When the people, those who were coming to the cities, they were getting the new infrastructure. Infrastructure again, the facility of transport, the road, the train, the hospitals, and a better education for their children. They thought, why to live in the villages when we can give better education to our children in the cities? They brought their children also and they started to give them admission in the school which were developing in the city urban areas. These were the features. Because of that, urbanization took place. Now see, another is the tea plantation is another part of that. Basically happens in Assam and the nearby areas. Tea plantation that was started, the labor, they were coming from the villages to work there also. But the tea plantation, because that was a rich area, it was not a normal kind of farming. So the tea planters, the owners of the tea plantations, they appointed managers in order to manage the tea plantation. Manage the laborers, those who were working over there. What the managers did? The manager started to create problems for the people, those who were working. Which kind of problems? The first of all, they were giving less wages to the people. Because there was a competition and moreover they were the managers, not the owners. So there was no direct emotional link between the laborers and the owner. The managers were thinking to do the work at the low cost so that their employer, their owner can give them an award or can thank them or their job can be permanent. Because of that, they were ill-treating the laborers, they were giving them less salary. Moreover, they were asking them to do extra work in their bungalows where the managers were supposed to live. Some extra work they were asking them to do. That is also the reality. This is only the reason where you find that the tea plantations, tea farms, they basically have either the children as the laborers or the ladies. Because the ladies and the children, they are supposed to work on less wages according to these people. Right? The problem was wages. They were not ready to give pure permanent wages or the fixed wages for them. They kept on making it up and down according to their need, whatever they needed. That was the tea plantations, how the people, how the laborers were living in those areas. They were suffering a lot because of the problems created by the managers. Now the next is rural urban areas impact. I told you about the industrialization and about the urbanization. And the main thing in between, the connection between both is that migration. What is migration? Migration is from villages to cities. As I told you just now, the migration was done for the job opportunities, for the work, for the infrastructure, for the money, right? That is, and for the bright future. The migration is done. But when migration is done, the villages, the population of the villages was going down, but the population of urban areas, the cities, that was going up. I gave you the example of Kolkata that there were just 3 villages, and right now that is the most dense area of the country. Kolkata is having the most populated area, most populated city of the country. The village has turned into the most populated area of the country. That all happened because of the industrialization, nothing else. See what happened because of that? We got 2 types of cities. One is metropolis, one is megapolis. The cities, those who are having metropolis, the tag of metropolis, they are basically the urban areas plus suburbs. What is the word suburb? Suburban areas. Means the areas, the border areas of the city, they are called the suburb areas. For example, the villages, those who were there, or the extension of cities and the villages. That comes under the category of suburb areas. For example, if we take Delhi NCR, and Delhi NCR is a metropolis city because it is having suburb areas also. Not only the city of Delhi, but the nearby areas, Gurgaon, Noida, Faridabad, and so many other small towns and villages are also a part of NCR. That is suburban areas plus the urban areas, which calls them metropolis cities. Another is megapolis, that is only the urban areas, sometimes related with the next state. If we talk about Noida, what is Noida? Noida is at the border of Delhi, right? It is just not far away from Delhi, just very close to it. So that's why this is called megapolis. The city which is attached to the next state and which is widely known. It is also having so many villages, right? Where the people are coming and working or they are living. That is megapolis. The reason of this metropolis and megapolis is only the industrialization. Because of industrialization only, the people, those who started to live there. When the factories they are set up, they are never set up in the cities, they are set up in the open space, in the fields, in the barren lands, far away from the cities, so that they can get a big piece of land to establish the cities, the industries. When the industries got set up, they started to work, the people started to come to the factories, the industries to work over there and to live nearby areas. If you will ask somebody to live in the open space, they will not go. But if you will set up an industry there, the people will automatically come there and they will start making colonies. This is how the industrialization makes the shape of urbanization also. The people, those who come from villages, they always be the member of cities after that. They never want to go back to the villages. Even though the village is also having so many facilities, but no. Because the cities, they are having infrastructure, the structural changes that has taken much more changes much more face in the cities and not in the villages. There are many villages in the country which are still far away from the real life infrastructure, from the communication, from the transportation, and from the electrification also. Without electricity, it is not possible for the people to survive nowadays, right? This is how the chapter goes. The chapter is finished. Hope you got it all. If any doubt you have, you can leave a comment or text me directly, right? Thank you very much.